Be you still, trembling heart. Remember the wisdom out of the old days. Him who trembles before the flame and the flood, and the winds that blow through the starry ways. Let the starry ways, the flame and the flood, cover over and hide, for you have no part with the lonely, majestical multitude. This poem of the Irish poet William Butler Yeats is one of the most lyrical expressions of a deeply philosophical mindset, the mindset of so-called Neoplatonism. What is Neoplatonism? Not to be confused with Platonism. Neoplatonism is a philosophy grounded in the first centuries after Christ, which concludes that everything what comes into existence derives from a spiritual, immaterial source, the so-called hen-on. This is Greek for the one being, the one that is. The so-called hen-on, the one that is, the soul being, emanates itself through spirit, soul, into the realm of the material world. This process is called emanatio in Latin, or emanation. Yeah? It means that the soul being, which is pure spirit, comes into existence in several steps. It is a process with many steps which can be seen and which are seen in the classical Neoplatonic point of view as a kind of decay. It is, so to speak, a fall from grace. The hen-on, the soul being, the soul spirit, is the most highest, and the existence, the multitude of singular beings is a kind of decadence in the most literal sense, because decadere in Latin means to fall. Decadence means something which is fallen, which is corrupt, which is corruption, or in the Neoplatonic point of view, the fall from the hen-on, the source of being, the pure spiritual source of being, into the material world, is a kind of decay or decrease, or a fall from not biblical but philosophical grace. So, if we are about to learn more about William Butler Yeats, if we would like to understand his lyrical work, we must know our Neoplatonic homework, because his central topic is this so-called, I would like to say, philosophical fall from grace. You have no part with the lonely, majestical multitude. This means that you, the lyrical ego, or man in his existential sense, has no part with the material world, but belongs to the spiritual realm, to the realm of pure or soul spirit, hen-on, the one that is. For Yeats, everything which is into existence, and everything for what he finds very lyrical and even romantic expressions, is but a decay. The best philosophy is, in his words, mad as the mist and snow, or lost. It is a work of decay, something which is doomed to failure, because it has already fallen from philosophical heaven to earth, And therefore, in the Neoplatonic point of view, everything which is described by the poet is but one single example for this process of emanation, emanatio, and thus a product of decay. One has to understand this very thoroughly in order to see what William Butler Yeats is actually describing in his so-called romantic poems. His romantic poems are not about love or love's labors lost, if I may quote Shakespeare, or the misunderstandings between lovers. No, it is an intense longing of man as existential being for his or her origin. Yeah? It is the longing to be reunited with the spiritual source of being, the soul being and pure spirit, apart from the material world. You have no part with the lonely, majestical multitude, because the multitude is the living contrast of soul being, what is not only singular, but singularity in itself. It is the one, the hen-on, the one being. William Butler Yeats' lyrical oeuvre circles around the one being, the hen-on of the Neoplatonic thinkers.